everybody. Sorry for the late start, but it wouldn't be 2020 without a few challenges to overcome with it. So we hope you had a good week. We're glad that you joined us tonight. We've got some exciting stuff to show you. If you've been on the site this afternoon, you'll have no doubt noticed our brand new merch that we're really excited to launch. We have two different styles of hats, two different styles of shirts, and our new Go Build a Hoodie, not to mention our sticker sheet. So get those while the getting is good. They're not going to disappear anytime soon, but the first run is of limited quantity. So go ahead and check those out. As you can see, we're in a new location this week versus last week. This is where the magic happens. Old Bay. You can see a wall of parts behind me, and this is where the R&D team comes in and grabs parts off the shelf and builds things and prototype stuff. So this is, we're on hallowed ground here tonight. You know, everybody here knows Ethan, of course, and Ethan's going to run us through a new product launch. And no, it's not the merch, even though we launched that today as well. So we've got a new product that we'll be launching live tonight during the show. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Ethan, and I'm going to be hanging out in the chat and comment section. So shoot us any questions that you want us to answer near the end of the show. All right.
Yeah, so we have all of our new merch. I'm sorry about those audio issues. I think it should be a lot louder now. So like Jason mentioned, we've got our new part. It's underneath this fancy sheet here, so you'll be able to get some more information on that when we're moving over there. One of my favorite things that we launched today especially was this new blackout hat. I wear this all the time, and it's kind of nice that if you know a little bit, and you may not always not everybody will recognize your brand, but it's nice to be a little more subtle sometimes. We've also got our fun sticker sheets, which I have on a lot of my personal stuff now, so it's nice to be able to show off some more Go Build a stuff throughout your everyday life. Another thing that we released today is our sponsorship information. So this year we're giving 150 teams the opportunity to buy a Strafer chassis for 150 bucks. This is kind of our way to push and help the community and help you guys. It's something that we're really passionate about, is giving back to teams and helping you in every way we can. And this year we decided that a really big thing that we did last year, we could continue on and make even bigger. So from my years in FTC, I've always seen that rookie teams and veteran teams alike tend to struggle with chassis. And it's hard when your chassis breaks, because your drivetrain braking doesn't really teach you very much besides, hey, my drivetrain isn't very good, which really sucks. That's not a very solid lesson. So we like being able to give teams the resources to be able to get a really solid chassis under their robot, so they can look at their mechanisms and look at the rest of their robot and say, this is where we want to improve and struggle with, and this is really what we want to grapple with for this season. I've always said a good chassis is never going to win you a match, but a bad chassis will absolutely lose you matches. So that's a really big thing that we're really, really excited about. You can find that link on our website. You can jump over there and hit the FTC tab, and you'll be able to fill out that form. The submissions for that close the 30th of this month, so September 30th, and we'll select teams shortly after that. One thing you'll notice if you look super closely in that render is that it's not the Strafer chassis that you're used to. This is actually going to be a V2, a new Strafer chassis to this upcoming FTC season that you guys will see more information about really soon. So it has got a new motor ratio. It's running at 19.2 to 1, and our new 1 to 1 miter gears. Some small quality of life improvements, like spacers for those miter gears, which mean the spacing is pretty well set for you, and an 8-hole crossbeam, so that the width of that chassis, it went from a 9-hole crossbeam like this right here to an 8-hole, so you cut 24 millimeters off the width of that chassis, which means instead of being 17.97 inches wide, it ends up being just shy of 17, which is a lot more reasonable, and I think will help a lot of teams pass inspections a little easier. That was a big thing that we wanted to improve upon compared to last year. So new, faster speed. You're looking at closer to 5 feet per second speed-wise, and new, narrower chassis, which is really, really exciting. Let's see here. I know somebody in the chat mentioned wheel guards. There was a really awesome Reddit post. I wish I had a link to it off the top of my head. That was some 3D printed kind of wheel guards that went around the wheels on the Strafer chassis. Those I think are going to pair super well with the new Strafer, because you have that, they're an 8-hole crossbeam, so you're just a little narrower, but you can take up that extra space on the sides there. So I'm really excited about that. That's one of my favorite things about, one of my favorite things that we're launching this season. Speaking of that, I think that it's just about time that we roll into looking at the new product that we're revealing today. So, oh, you can better not show off the battery there, but we will unveil it pretty soon here, I think. One hint is that it does need a battery, as you probably saw, so that's really exciting. And let's see here. We might as well go ahead and reveal it. So, it doesn't look super special right now. It is another servo in the GoBuilda dual mode servo lineup. Same gray case that you're used to, and the same amount of motor, the same bare motor inside of there. The thing we changed again is the gear train. So this is a super speed servo, which means it is fast. It runs at a peak of 290 RPM. That's at 7.4 volts, so you wouldn't be able to get there in FTC, but it is blisteringly fast, especially in angular mode like we have it in here. If you're just running between different positions, it's hard to see, especially going from a torque servo. So it's really fun, and it will also switch over into continuous mode, just like the speed and the torque servos. So you can put this on an intake or any other kind of wheeled application, maybe run a linear slide for a lower duty application, and you can get a lot of that really quick speed out of it without some of the hassle of something like a 393. So we are really super excited about this. It opens up a lot of potential for lighter duty intakes and other things like that. We are really excited about this servo. So this is a 67.6 to 1 reduction, I believe, in the gearbox internally. So if you remember right, the torque servo is about a 300 to 1, the speed servo is 135 to 1, and the new super speed servo is just about 67 to 1. So the speed servo is going to be a little over twice as fast as the torque servo, and this will be just about twice as fast as your speed servo. A handy thing with the GoBuilda servos is that at 6 volts, they're just about 1 ounce inch per, at the bare motor is just about 1 ounce inch at 6 volts. So if you have a 67 to 1 reduction, you're looking at about 67 ounce inches of torque out of it. So it is really exciting. I'm very, very excited to see what you guys do with this servo, and I think it's going to be really, really cool. Let's see here. Hey, Jason, do we have any questions from the chat? Let's see here.
Yes, we do. One question is the new Servo Ftc legal?
Mm-hmm. So FTC Servo rules are pretty open, and I don't believe they've changed this year to last, but the restrictions are pretty much, it needs to be 3-wire input, and it needs to run on 5 to 6 volts, whichever way you're running it. So with an FTC, you can run a servo either directly off the expansion hub or through the servo power module. The servo power module will give you 6 volts, the expansion hub will give you 5 volts. So of course, with that increased voltage, you'll increase your speed, you'll have more torque, and you'll also be able to pull more current because you're increasing that voltage. These servos will pull, I believe it's 2 amps on 5 volts, and they'll pull about 2.5 on 6. So you're really pretty much on that FTC legal limit for what the expansion hubs can put out. directly, or if you jump up to the servo power module, you get more power out of it, and you're really not anywhere near the 15 amp limit you can get out of that power module.
I want to point out that the Servo is live on the site now. And so the next question is, when will Schaefer V2 that you mentioned earlier be available?
So I believe that's coming really soon here. I'm not 100% sure on the exact date. We're still ironing out all of the details and making sure that's ready to go. But that should be within the next couple weeks here, I believe.
Another question was, where are the rules for the sponsorships? And if you go to the homepage, the different big banners cycling through. The one for the Schaefer promotion, click on that. It's got all the information there.
Pretty much if you're an active FTC team, you can go ahead and apply, and we will do our best to support all of those teams and as many of you as we can. If you don't end up getting the sponsorship, we're really happy to help you in other ways that we can. So whether that's probably more on the tech support side than the monetary side, but if you have any questions you want us to answer, definitely shoot us an email. Our emails are sales@gobuilda.com, marketing@gobuilda.com, and tech@gobuilda.com. If your question is a little more marketing related or tech related, whatever, you'll just want to send it to the right place so we can get to it as fast as possible. I know someone in the chat did also mention price. It's priced just the same as our other dual mode servos. So that's a really, really nice, I think it's about $22 after the FTC discount. So very reasonably priced, very affordable for a servo of this power. It does also have a steel gear train inside of it. Even though we're talking about a lot less torque, we figured, hey, I think we have been super happy with that. A running change to all of the GoBuilda servos throughout the off season has been changing out the center stage pin material. So there's a little shaft that's in the center stage of these GoBuilda servos that would snap, especially on virtual 4 bars last year, where you had this really long lever arm and teams would unfortunately hit the sky bridge and cause servos to fail pretty often, and that was a really common failure point. So we've switched that over to a much stronger steel, and that should be breaking a lot less often for you guys now. If you have some old ones and you want some new pins, just shoot me an email to tech@gobuilda.com and we can send you some new ones. And if you have some that are broken, we're definitely willing to send you some new pins and get those replaced so that you can get your servos up and running again.
101 Bob 101 asks if the super speed servo is faster than the VEX 393 servo.
Oh man, I believe that it's very similar. One thing that lines up really well with the GoBuilda servos is the different gear options you can get in a 393. So I believe you'd be talking about the 393 with a turbo gear set in it, which I think is about 300 RPM. Let's see here. So it looks like on 7.4 volts, the turbo gear set in a 393 hits 240 RPM as spec'd by VEX. So it should be a good amount faster, especially because VEX's 393 stats are rated in 7.4 volts, I believe. They may be 7.2. Either way, it's spec'd for a voltage that's higher than the expansion hub or the servo power module can put out. The GoBuilda servo, the super speed servo at 6 volts looks at about 230. The best comparison between those two would be comparing our 7.4 volt speed to their 7.4 volt speed. So a turbo gear 393, you're hitting about 240 RPM, and a GoBuilda super speed servo at that same voltage hits about 290. So this should actually be faster. A big reason that I was super excited about this servo was to hopefully be able to give teams who are kind of locked into that 393 with turbo gear set another option. It is a pain in the butt to use in a lot of FTC building systems because of its square shaft output and all of that stuff. So I was really excited to be able to get a nice competitor to that out there.
FTC Robotics 12 asks, is this the best servo for an intake?
I would say so. This kind of really high-speed servo doesn't really exist outside of outside of FTC. They do exist occasionally for RC helicopters, but if you're looking for a servo that's that fast with an RC helicopter, a lot of the times you actually run into the refresh rate of the servo being a limiting factor. So a lot of those really, really, really fast servos outside of the super speed servo have a refresh rate that isn't compatible with the expansion hub. The other thing is continuous rotation servos are kind of weird if you look at them outside of FTC, because you can pretty much throw a motor on a project and a motor controller, and for those really high-speed applications that makes a lot more sense. So this really was designed a little bit with FTC in mind, in that it doesn't make a whole lot of sense outside of FTC. So I would say it probably is the best option for intakes. It may still be a little underpowered for some intakes. If you were trying to design something for relic recovery, you may not have the stall torque to correct a glyph's orientation or something like that. But I think it's pretty much as good as you can get for an FTC intake for those lower loads.
All right. Well, we do have a few more questions, but I do want to point out that we will be doing a giveaway this episode. We're going to be giving away 5 of the super speed servos. The way this is going to work is basically we've created a coupon code, super speed, all caps, no spaces. We've set it up for that so it can be used 5 times, but once per customer. And you have to have at least $10 worth of products in your cart, and then you can drop that in the coupon code area in your cart.
Yeah, so
when you do that, the servo is going to be added to the cart for you when you drop in that super speed coupon code.
Yep, and then I will throw that in the chat real fast. There we go. So as long as you type in that coupon code into the coupon code section of our website, you'll be able to get a super speed servo, and first 5 customers will be able to get one of those. So we're really, really excited to get these into your guys' hands and start playing with them. A big thing that we always really like to hear is feedback. So if you have any opinions on these servos after using them, so you say, hey, this happened to me, or hey, I'd really like to see this kind of servo in the future, shoot me an email. tech@gobuilda.com will get to me, and I'll definitely log that suggestion. I'm also over on Discord if you want to tag me. I'm probably going to be a little faster at responding there, especially on off hours. But that's a really great way to get feedback to us and really give us a good direction for the future of our product line.
Much like servos themselves, we wouldn't be what we are without feedback.
Exactly right. Oh man.
All right, we do have a few more questions here. There have been a few questions about us doing a variety of other things for merchandise, bucket hats and sweatpants, and we're really open. It's what you guys ask for. That's what's going to drive what we end up doing.
We do have, I believe we were working on one additional item of merchandise, at least for us here to wear in our videos. I think I actually get to pick that up next week. So that's really exciting. And if you guys want to see that once we end up showing it on some videos, definitely let us know. But other merchandise is really kind of what you guys want to see. We kind of pushed for all the things that we really wanted. We're like, man, we want a couple styles of shirts and a hoodie and some hats. So past that, it's up to you guys a little bit.
All right. File Type Null asks, what kind of applications would you recommend using the Super Speed Servo for?
I'd say intakes are a big one. Another thing that would have been really helpful last year, I think, would have been the Super Speed Servo as a linear extension device. So a lot of teams in Skystone had a vertical lift and a horizontal lift. So you just went straight up vertically and you'd extend your robot out to deliver that stone. I think that a lot of the reason a lot of teams went with pretty long linkage arms is you just couldn't get servos that were quite as fast as these. So you can go with a super speed servo in a lower load linear motion with a spool attached to it, and I think that should help out a lot. That coupled with its pretty far range, 300 degrees, it should be really nice for those applications. Intakes are another good one, especially lower load ones like you might see in Rover Ruckus or Velocity Vortex. I think both of those would be really solid uses for super speed servos. Or you then can go use a motor you would have used on your intake in another application. So that's definitely a really nice one. Linkages are a good one if you're doing a linear motion device, or if you're doing something that's maybe lower load, but you just need to make it happen throughout the game. A good option might be, let's see, maybe toggling the climbers in Rescue. That would be a pretty good, that probably would be where I would reach. A super speed servo would be realistically probably overkill torque-wise there. All right, so yeah, I think this is a big thing. This is probably the biggest part we released this week along with the merch. So it's really exciting. We have even more parts coming down the pipeline that are just getting closer and closer. They're either on their way or in production in various stages of the development process. We're always working on new stuff here at GoBuilda. So we're really excited to be able to continue releasing products. It's really fun that we've been able to do it. Pretty much a new product every Friday, and we'll hopefully be able to continue that next week and the week after that and the week after that. Speaking of live streams, we're doing something really exciting next week. So something I've got a lot of requests for just over a year and a half that I've been here is a robot in 3 days. So this year we're doing it. We have a super special secret guest from an FTC team that's coming down to help us build a robot in 3 days for this challenge. We have a huge shout out to the Oklahoma FTC for letting us borrow their fields, and we're going to be able to do some field walkthroughs and show you guys how elements interact with different robot components that we sell here at GoBuilda. We're going to be starting that on Monday, and we're going to run through Friday. We'll have about 5 hours of streaming every day. So it'll run from 11 Central to 4 p.m. Central Time here, and you'll get to see a lot more of this build bay and see us using a lot of the parts that we have laid out all around it. So I am really stoked. This is going to be a lot of fun, and you guys should be able to jump in, ask questions there, tag me on Discord, and just be able to get a little bit better feel for all of those elements, maybe before your own fields come in, and also be able to just kind of see some different design concepts. We're going to hopefully be able to talk about a lot of different things. So that will be really, really exciting. I'm sure we'll use a super speed servo or two on that robot, as well as some other servos. So that is going to be really, really fun. We're planning on using 8 FTC motors and up to 12 servos. So we're going to assume that you guys have two rev hubs, whether that's an expansion hub or a control hub. And in addition to that, we're also going to be trying to prioritize parts you can find in the FTC kit. We likely will have to go out of that just because games are really unpredictable. And here at GoBuilda, we don't know any more about the game than you guys do. So we're kind of guessing just as much as you are on what's going to be in the game and what kind of things you would need out of an FTC kit to play that game really well. Let's see. Do we have any other questions from the chat?
We do. There have been a few questions about if we're going to do giveaways tonight that don't utilize the coupon codes. The short answer is nope. That's the method we're using tonight to give products away.
And then I think that the little viewers tab at the bottom of our overlay there is not working. Looks like we've got about 88 of you wonderful people watching today. So I just wanted to give a shout out because that was a little bit of a mix-up there. So we'll definitely work on improving, get the audio levels up a little bit before next stream, and we're really excited to see you guys on Monday. That's going to be really, really exciting. Let's see. If you have any questions about Series Servo or any other parts you can see here, it's pretty easy for me to grab something and show it off. So if you're wondering about any parts in particular, just let us know and we should be able to walk you through those. I know in the chat somebody asked about the being Twitch partnered. That was MC Wolf04. That's something we've been talking about recently. We're still a ways off. Just a little peek behind the curtain. We need to have an average of 75 viewers and stream 12 times in a 30-day window. So I think we're not going to be quite there even with our robot in 3 days. So we would need to stream a lot more and also keep up that viewership. We're doing really great, especially with these last 2 shows. But to get partnered, we may need to step it up just a little bit more if that's something you guys want to see. I believe we're really close to being a Twitch affiliate, which means we'll be able to get you guys some really exciting emotes that are a little more tailored toward GoBuilda. So let us know what you would want to see, and we should be able to hit a Twitch affiliate sometime next week with our really long Robot in 3 Days stream. So that'll be really exciting to get some Twitch emotes going. And let us know if you have any suggestions for those. We're totally open to what we'll do there. And let's see. I know, let's see, I'm not sure. Anyway, asked, can you talk about the best ways to organize all the parts in a kit? So the master kit does come in a nice cardboard box, but it's not a great way to organize stuff. My personal favorite way is just tackle boxes. You can get them from pretty much wherever, and they have nice little compartments for screws and hubs and sprockets and motion components especially. Bearings are a great thing to have in tackle boxes. And once you get a lot of those small components kind of sectioned off into their own areas, it can feel a lot more organized, even if it's not really very much more organized. The structural components are generally a lot bigger, so they're easier to find than those little small components. Let's see. Do we have any other questions from the chat?
There have been a few questions about what if any portion of that V2 variation of the Strafer uses 8 Rex.
Sure. So the motors in that chassis are still 6D. They're a 5202, 0002, 0019, but the rest of the shafting in that system is 8 Rex. So pretty much just the output side of the miter gear setup. So you'll have your 6D motor with the miter gear on it, then your 8 Rex shaft also with the miter gear on it that goes to your mecanum wheel, and the 8 Rex will actually be what's driving that mecanum wheel. We did hear from a couple teams who bent some 6D on strafers last year, so that was one reason we chose to go with a lot beefier 8 Rex, but overall we just like it as a shaft a little better. It's stronger and the positive drive is a lot better. Not that that's been an issue on a drivetrain, but it's a nice improvement and we really like to be able to step up our chassis in every way that we can. Let's see, so I think those are a lot of the big things that we were hoping to cover today. Super Speed Servo is really just kind of the #1, and we're going to be coming out with more really exciting products as the season progresses. And we may have an opportunity to do stuff that's a little more season specific that we'll be able to get into on really next week. So tomorrow, believe it or not, is FTC kickoff. I'll be down in Oklahoma with the crew down there, and I'll likely be helping out them with their live field walkthrough tomorrow, I believe starting at 11 Central or noon Eastern. So that'll be really exciting. If you're part of FTC Georgia, you'll get to see me on Sunday. I'm doing a class on GoBuilda 101, and I believe that Oklahoma stream will be on Twitch. So you should be able to find that if you want to see more of me, but I'm sure you'll be able to get enough of that next week. We'll also do our best to post the really exciting parts of next week's stream on YouTube. so you'll be able to jump in and watch those again. But the best way to see it is to catch it live, where you can ask questions and interact with us really well. Let's see. Do we have any last questions before the chat?
You know, I mean, the last one I want to throw out there isn't really a question, but Jules 10355 says that 8-Rex is the most perfect FTC shaft. Not really a question, but shout out, Jules. Thank you. We agree.
Yeah, I think it's a really nice size between fitting in a 14 mil bearing, 14 mil OD bearing, so it works in channel really well. It's durable enough for everything short of really big arms, and it's definitely my favorite form factor for an FTC shaft. All right, with that.
Do you want to point out that the 5 coupon codes have been snagged up already and they have been used? So thank you everybody for jumping in and being a part of tonight. We appreciate you watching.
And definitely once you get your servos, tag us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, and we're really excited to see what you guys do with them. If you want to keep up with what we're doing, you can find us at GoBuilda on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Make sure to give us a follow here at GoBuilda TV to be able to see what we're up to, catch when we're streaming next week and in the coming weeks. And if you want to send your friends our way, you can have them go to GoBuilda.tv, and then I'll take them right here. Thank you guys so much for being a really amazing community, and we'll see you next time.